with Strick and Brant and be a part of the Stream Network. Our goal is really simple. We're here to help you succeed. Live action, join the Stream team with Strick and Brant and be a part of the Stream Network. Our goal is really simple. We're here to help you succeed. Lights, camera, action, join the Stream team.
We live? Yeah. Strick City. Woo! Strick City. All over the world.
Strick City, man, we live. Yo, Strick City on the ride. Yo, look like surprise. Yo, taking your city like we live. Yo, man, we live. Yo, taking your city like surprise. Yo, on the ride. Yo, Strick City coming live. Yo.
Listen, oh my God, this is going to be a fun show. I am so excited about my guest today, but more importantly, I'm excited about you. Thank you for hanging out with us. Even if you're watching this on a replay, of course, you know I'm Strick, and it is my pleasure to do Strick City just for you. This show has morphed over just a year. So March 4th, 2020, I actually did my first video on Facebook and on YouTube, and Facebook reminded me, hey, Strick, you actually started this thing back up last year, so thank Facebook for the memory, because now I'm like, hey, when the pandemic actually started, I had a little bit more time, and I said, hey, let me actually start doing some online content, and a year later, here we are. I love an opportunity to kind of hang out with you guys, but I need your help today with my guest. I need to see you in the comments. So if you're watching, just say hello. We'll definitely shout you out. And when I first got started, I used to give away, like cash apps out when people would share it. And then we kind of like moved away from that. That was a lot of money for me. But you still can share it. I've shared it. It's on Strick City, DJ.Strick on Facebook. It's on Strick City on Facebook. It's on my other DJ Strick page. I'm all over right now, even on Twitter. So you can catch me there through Periscope. We are really doing some amazing things with this show. If you go to our YouTube channel, there's all the archives of all the past guests and shows. So from the Mayor of Birmingham to Dr. McMoore to Ruben Studdard to Funny Maine to Roy Woods Jr., all of those people that's been on my show, all of those shows are right there on YouTube, so you can check them out, peruse them, just kind of hang out and just watch me like all day. Like, why not binge watch Strick City? It'll be cool. I'm sure you'll learn a lot, and you know, you'll laugh at me because sometimes I can be funny. Like, I have at least one joke. All right. So definitely shouts out to you, Tia. Thank you for hanging out with me. It's been a long time, Tia. Like last time I saw you, you was a little baby girl. But hey, here we are now. That's cool. So you just never know who will pop through Strick City. But thank you for hanging out. And again, I need you in the comments if you are watching. Every Thursday night, Strick City is live. So me and you get a chance to hang out every Thursday night, and I love doing this. So if you didn't know, I used to do Tuesdays and Thursday nights. I had to stop doing Tuesday nights because I picked up another show. And that show, you would see it in the beginning of this, it's called The Stream Show, where me and a young man by the name of Brant Collins, we actually co-host the Stream Show, where we are the stream guys and we help streamers succeed. So if you are new into the streaming technology, or you're zooming a lot and you're ready to take your Zoom to the next level, The stream guys are here to help. So Sunday nights we do that on the Ecamm network of shows. It's Ecamm on Facebook. Ecamm Live on their Facebook page, their community group page, and their YouTube channel. You got the Scream guys. So even on YouTube, you can search us, and we're the two guys like next to each other, teaching people how to stream. Like, I promise you, if you're trying to stream, you'll love that show. So definitely really excited about doing that with Brant Collins. And we got so much more going on. Right now, I want to get into the show because I believe you guys are here with us today. And I appreciate you watching from wherever you are. Thank you so very much for being here today. I have tried my best to go after some of the best guests in the city of Birmingham, like people that are in the know, like the who's who of Birmingham, Alabama. And over the years, being here for a long time, I've crossed paths with a lot of people, and a lot of people I know and been friends because I've been here for a while. This young lady, we only met one time, but I admire her work in the city. And I actually connected with her on LinkedIn, and she says, like, sure, I'll do your show. I was like, wow, I'm going to have this powerhouse of a young lady on Strick City to share her wisdom with you. Like, I'm pumping this up because I want you to be ready to be inspired, to be encouraged, and to get some new information. This lady is like a well of content, and we're going to go in today to give that content for you. Like, when it's Strick City, it's free. All you got to do is listen and take notes. So get ready to do that. And I'm pumping her up because really, guys, she has, we've talked offline, and I'm taking notes. Like, I'm just like, wow, it's some of the things she's done, she's doing, and the content that she's providing to some of her customers. So without further ado, I'm going to bring her to the stage. So this is Alice Gordon Holloway right here on Strick City. How are you doing, ma'am?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for that introduction. I'm excited about being here this evening.
Did I do good enough for you? Like, did I miss anything? Like, I didn't say all the cities and all the places
Yeah, I
you've
think
done
I
because
need
we're
to.
going to get a chance to talk about it.
Yeah, actually, you did an incredible job. I thought it was quite funny that you stopped giving Cash App, and I have Cash App, so we can go back. But no,
I
no,
know it,
seriously,
right?
you did an awesome job, and I'm so looking forward to having this discussion with you. Thank you for letting me be a part of your broadcast. I'm super impressed with what you've done, and I will say in advance, congratulations and happy anniversary on your 1 year anniversary.
Thank you. Thank you. So, I talk about me having a 1 year anniversary on the show, but, LinkedIn is funny. They give anniversaries to like your business. And I hate, I don't want to share my age, but I've been like doing Strict City for a very long time. And just randomly, I started getting these inboxes saying, congratulations. I'm like, what are you guys
Hmm.
congratulating me for on LinkedIn? And it was because of my work anniversary. And I
Yes.
think I'm 20, 21 years into it, something like that. But, whatever. It is really, really cool. But that being said, you are in the month where I am celebrating a year of doing online content with this show. Uh,
Hmm.
People with the technology now, hey, James, thank you for hanging out with us. With the technology now, you have to, kind of reinvent yourself sometimes and do some
Yes.
things differently, and that's what I decided to do, and it's been working. Like, it's not easy at all. And Alex,
Yeah, I
like
can imagine.
streaming, it is not easy going live because whatever can happen, that anything that could go wrong will go wrong. But things have
Hmm.
been great so far, and then I get a chance to really talk to some amazing people like yourself. So thank you
Thank
for your
you.
willingness to kind of hang out with us. And I was talking a little bit because I wanted the data to catch up. It was kind of choppy on my end, but it looks like it has caught up with us. And me and you are
Okay.
here and we're together. That being said, I know you're not originally from Birmingham, but you've been in the city for a really long time working with corporate America and also as an entrepreneur, as you have your own business. Over the years, you've done several different type businesses. Can you talk through a little bit of your journey and where you are now?
Yeah, yeah. Well, first of all, I'm originally from Mobile, but I must say that my journey has been pretty interesting because it's been so many twists and turns, and finally had some straight and narrow paths, and then again a little bit of a twist and turn again. But I will say that the way I started, my uncle Billy was in real estate, and I would see him with this nice suit on. He would go to work, and I would see him basically selling houses and making deals and negotiating. And so something happened to me. I was thinking about that as a young individual growing up. But what was really interesting was that my mother was a 15-year-old teen mom, and then eventually was not able to really provide for us at the immediate time, but end up providing an opportunity for us to stay within the family and move in with our Aunt B. Well, I saw that she was such a powerful woman. So, of course, in this March is Women's History Month here.
Hmm.
During this taping of the broadcast that we are celebrating, it did something to me because I watched her change lives and make an impact. And so, as a little girl, I end up reading so much and getting to a point where I really enjoyed reading. And I read at the time the only magazines that were around, which at the time that I read was Reader's Digest or, some of the other magazines like National Geographic. And so it carried my mind away into an area where I wanted to learn more.
Okay.
And I love the idea of the entrepreneur path because I didn't really know what my uncle was called. I just knew he sold real estate.
Gotcha.
And that to me sounded as if it was something I was interested in. I never sold real estate, but I realized that he was a respected businessman.
Hmm.
And that was something important. And then my aunt was a respected teacher because she was teaching gifted children. So she made this huge impact. And so over the years, between my family and my mom and my dad, we just realized okay, teen moms can be teen parents and be really great parents. You just need a lot of support. So my
That's true.
journey get transferred from those areas. And so eventually, fast forward, I was able to be at University of South Alabama, graduated from there some years ago, and then eventually moved to Birmingham. And that was before GPS, that was before Facebook, that was before Twitter, and before all the connected, opportunities we have now. And start working in the arena where I worked, more in television at that time, and I did in Mobile at a TV station that was an NBC station turned Fox. And I just really realized that I enjoyed communication. I enjoyed writing, but I didn't want to be in front of the camera. This was never my initial dream. I like being behind the scenes, making other people look good, making things happen. And it just so paths crossed with a general manager who basically made me audition for the TV show that we had at the time in
Wow.
Mobile. And I will tell you, Strick, I was terrible. The first time I was terrible. And I would say the second and the third and the fourth time. It was only after the fifth or sixth time that I realized I'm not going to be perfect.
Right.
I'm not going to always say the right words. And there are sometimes things just happen, and that's okay.
It
And
is.
that was where I realized it's okay to be natural. I speak fast normally. So I just did what I normally did and had to manage myself and realize imperfection is okay. So that's kind of a little bit of the journey. It's been interesting because you're right. I've been in Birmingham for a long time, and Birmingham's been good to me.
That's
I must
good.
say, yeah, Birmingham's been good to me, but I certainly love home as well.
So, I definitely big shouts out to my man Jermaine hanging out with us today. Faye is actually in the comments as well. She said hello to you, and
Hi, Shantae.
yeah, Angela is also in the comments. We appreciate people that if you're here, just say hello in the comments. Even if you have questions, like we may even take some questions from you as well. But definitely thank you guys for hanging out. Um, Ms. Holloway here has been in the city of Birmingham. She has been in front of the camera a lot. Even I remember when we would have crisis emergencies, whether it's hurricanes or whatever, from an Alabama Power standpoint, you would be the person that is having the message of what Alabama Power is doing, and how they are trying to get lights back on and restore power. How was that journey for you from working there, and I guess it would be more of the crisis, public relations and crisis management piece. Is that where you would call your work with them?
Yeah, it was a communication spokesperson role where I actually had to speak on behalf of the company, which at the time had 1.4 million customers, nearly 7,000 employees, and of course that was a former life. But I also worked prior to that at the nuclear power facility, where I actually worked in nuclear power, um, handling communications for the three plants when 9/11 happened. So, Strick, that was really a trying time for me to professionally develop myself and personally develop myself, because it happened at a time where I was still young in my career in the utility industry. And then, of course, fast forward, I went to Alabama Power, which is a subsidiary company of those companies. So I stay within the same family of companies.
Got you.
And I just realized that crisis is something nobody is prepared for. It's what I call the three U's. It's uncomfortable, it's unpredictable, and it's unexpected. And so when I realized that, I finally had to say, okay, how do I make sure that I can manage myself when the worst happens? And how do I manage myself in a business environment such as the utility industry when I had to be cool, calm, and collected under lights and pressure, which is part of the job. And thankfully, it gave me a chance to grow and thrive in that environment. And I was there for almost 12 years. So it was a great opportunity for me to be a part of that experience.
So let me ask you this question. As you are talking, I'm listening to your path and your journey, and I'm hearing your professionalism. I'm hearing your wisdom in that. How did you get to where you are, like mentally? Like, what was a defining moment for you to say, you know what? There's a lot of paths I could have in life. I want to do this. I want to work in this arena. I want to be successful this way. For people that are watching and they may not know you, but they could feel and hear what I hear, the wisdom and the professionalism that you have. Like, how does a person from Mobile get to where you are?
Wow, what an incredible question. I will start by saying this, that when I started in the area of communication, I didn't know where it would take me. I was working in an area where people said, you may not get a great job. You'll do okay, but this is they were basically not really super encouraging about the career path I had chosen. So I was a
Gotcha.
little at a loss, but I also am a Christian and have been for all my life. And I
Come on
feel that
now.
God has a plan for me, and
Yes,
I just
ma'am.
need to I need to do my part, put the Alice might behind God's plan.
Come
And
on,
and so
the
and
Alice
so
what
thinking
now? I want to hear these common phrases you have. I'm not gonna miss a thing tonight. The Alice what?
might,
The
the
Alice
Alice
might.
might, yeah, behind God's plan.
I like it
So I'm putting my might behind what God has planned. And so I will
because you
tell you
take
that in
some
night,
responsibility to God's plan. To the might is the work, the power that you have at your hands and your intellect to
yes.
be able to pull. I love it. I love it. I
Yes,
love it.
because it's not just him; as we have to do our part. And so when in 1993, I was working at the TV station in Mobile, and I was young. I just was working in production behind the scenes. Didn't really, had an okay job, but I was, a young professional. And the Amtrak train derailed in Mobile Bay, and unfortunately, 47 people who were on a vacation, coming on vacation, unfortunately perished.
Mm.
And that was before we had a chance to be on a telephone call immediately. Before everybody had a cell phone, that was before everybody had the Facebook to be able to immediately call people and get to locations. Plus, the location that it happened at was difficult to get to because it was actually in a bay. So
Okay.
it did something to me, Strick, because that was before the word crisis management was a term that I remember. That was before the show Scandal came out with Kerry Richardson looking like $1 million. So
Right.
that was before all of those things happened. And so I realized that people need to know, particularly organizations and businesses, we need to know what to do in case the worst happens to us.
Right.
And so it was a real, and I think you said it perfectly. It was a defining moment that I didn't know that was defining to me until probably 10 years later. And I realized that it just stuck in my psyche that I had to do something about this. This was something that I could learn from and help others too along the way. And so that's one of the services that I was offering and still offer in some cases to clients who come to me and say, "Hey, I'm in this pickle. What do I do?" And so that's kind of where my skills come in play from way back when. And I've just tried to refine them over the years and over the years to get better to help people along the way, particularly companies and organizations.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And not only do I love it, Felicia's in the comments and she said hello. And we have Miss Thomas that is saying hello to you. Let me get to the screen where we
Hi.
actually can see this a little
Okay.
better.
Oh, yeah, Chinita. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
Hello.
glad you said her name. I couldn't pronounce it, so I just call her Miss
Yeah.
Thomas, And Angela is still saying hello, that she's super proud
Hi,
of
hi,
you.
Angela. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. I'm so happy to see all my friends. She's an entrepreneur too, even though she has another opportunity. But yeah, so then my
That's cool.
sister, she's online, my
Yeah.
sister Bridget. So happy about that. Thank you so much for the family support. You guys are awesome.
And Miss Felicia, she's like, God
Hey,
has a
Felicia.
plan for each of us. Amen. I'm agreeing with that. And the Alice might, like, listen, that's going to be a nugget for everybody today. I might have to steal that one and have a little strict
Yeah,
might with
strict
God's
might.
plan. I love that. So, and thank
Yeah.
you for saying that. And then Faye is like, it's
Hey,
just
Ann,
awesome. It's just awesome. And
Entree.
then my guy LP says, hello, sister. Definitely
Hi,
shouts out to
OP.
like Paul for hanging out with us tonight. And you guys, please continue to comment. I want you in the comments because you get a chance to hang out with us. This is it's interactive, So it's just not going to be us talking. It's all of us talking together as we go down the story and share some of the things that Ms. Holloway has done over the years. And we're going to talk about what you're doing right now and some of the plans because I did not know some of the things that you're doing and some of the big things, customers that you go after, clients that you have. It's just, I'm like, okay, I didn't know that you can actually have clients that are board members of these companies, and that's who you talk to. But before we get to some of your clients, I want to talk about your entrepreneur past, like some of the businesses that you've had in the past, some of the things that you've done,
Okay.
and maybe some of the stuff that you're still doing in some capacity. Can you share like your journey as a business owner?
Yeah, it started out early on, Strick, because I used to sell Christmas tree ornaments. I would sell
Wait. Hold on,
Avon.
hold on, hold on. Christmas tree ornaments? Like,
Yes,
how
I
did that
did.
come about? Like,
I don't know. I was just, I was young and I was trying to, do some things and I just figured out I'll try it.
I
And
got you.
so I sold Avon at the time and I just realized I had a little bit of a gift to work in the sales environment, but I was able to see that I can translate that into another opportunity. And so my entrepreneurial opportunity started in Mobile. I actually started a company called Right Communications and I just did communications plans for organizations. I just did a small basic. I look back on them now and say they pay me for that because I
Wow.
realized how much I've grown since then. But that was my first business, and then I transitioned into another area and was doing some other consulting work. And then I started a company where I was actually a CPR instructor, and I was teaching CPR to industry and organizations, and really did well with that. And then I started another company that was called the Flash Group. And because I was Flash Gordon, that was kind of the play on the name.
Okay, okay.
And then I actually started that, and I was actually doing videos for a big construction company. That was what my business was doing. And then after that, I started Skye Connect Incorporated, which I actually still run today. I started that in 2013,
Is that
and been
something
able
that
to
has to
do
do with
that.
Flash Gordon again? I mean, Skye Connect, that's kind of
Well,
unique.
Skye Connect is named after my 16-year-old Skylar.
Okay.
And so there's a little bit of a history there, and so that's where we started Skye Connect, and really been able to build on that. And so I've had these 5 different companies, and I also had another company called Talento South. Talento South was my government relations company that I started, and I since closed that down. So the only one that I have now is Skye Connect. So I have a lot of experience in the highs and the lows in working in those areas. And so my entrepreneurial journey has been just that, a journey. But I realized something, Strict, that I did not think
Okay.
about early on. I realized that it's one thing to be a solopreneur where you're doing all the work, and it's another thing to be an entrepreneur in one sense where you're trying to build an empire, so to
Right.
speak. And so we are in an environment where you can do a lot by yourself, and that's great. But entrepreneurship helps you to expand the opportunities and search for new entries into innovation and technology. And sometimes we need a team to make that happen. So I have this little saying that I heard years ago that if you want to go, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you
Wow.
want to go far, get a team. And
Listen,
so
listen.
I
No, 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 ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
okay, let's go
You
back.
cannot drop something like that and keep going, because that is so important for people that are trying to get into business. I've told you already to get your notebook out, whether it's your phone notes or whatever. We're gonna help you today, or she's gonna help you, and I'm just here for the ride. If you want to go fast, go along. If you want to
Yes,
go far,
far, get a team.
get a team. Get a team. I like
Yes,
that, and
get
because
a team.
you dropped that, I want to share this really quick. Wayman would not let the moment get away without chiming in that he's loving this interview. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. I'm glad to share this moment with my talented wife. Thank you for hanging out. And yes, your wife is
Oh,
very talented, and
sweet.
I appreciate you sharing her with us today. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Thank you, sweetheart. Love you, love you.
Listen, I do the same thing. My wife goes somewhere. I'm in the comments. I'm watching. I'm sharing. That's what you do. That's what you do. So you
That's what we
got
do.
it.
We push each other up.
You
That's what we
have
do.
to. You have to.
Yes,
So if you
yes.
want to go
If you want to
fast,
go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, get a team. And so let me also keep dropping another nugget on you.
okay, come
So
on,
there
come on.
there's what I call these four C's of the relationship tower. So when you're building these relationships, we all do great on our own, but there's nothing more powerful than having a team. It's
Right.
almost like I used to call, I don't know if you watched Wonder Woman growing up, but I did. I watched Wonder Woman growing up. So she had these bands on, and she'd always kind of have more of a these solid bands that were together. And so I always had this sense that there needs to be some connection with us being together collaboratively in an entrepreneur environment. So I've got these four C's of the relationship tower. And the first one is have a little bit of charm when you're trying to start your entrepreneur business, because it can be very difficult on days, and a little charm goes a long way. Number two, have a lot of character, because people like doing business with people they can trust and feel comfortable with. Number three, maintain your cool. There will be days when it's just not going to go well, and you just feel like you just not having one of those days, and move on to the next. And number four, be sure that you're competent in what you know how to do. I can't tell you, Strick, how many entrepreneurs at some point I met, and they can't really articulate what they do for a living. What do you do that brings you value or brings your customers value and that pays the house note, so to speak? And so those are some foundational things that we need to do. We need to build this tower to be sure that we're able to be charming, have good character, be cool about it, but be very competent in what you know how to do. And for a long time, I really didn't think I knew what I was good at. And I had to come to some realization over the years that I may have something of value, but I had to define it and refine it. And so over the years, that's what I've been able to do, and hopefully sharing that in my pursuit now. I'm working a lot in working with different people, different organizations, and they teach me and I teach them. So it's a great opportunity to
Listen,
collaborate.
I absolutely love it. If you're in the comments, please help me take notes. I'm not the best note taker. I got a bunch of stuff going on over here, but I love what you're sharing today. Not only do I love it, but Ann said this is some really, really good stuff. I want to bring this back. You're dropping some wisdom. Angela again said that's right.
Thank you.
And then I have Ms. Holiday. You're definitely awesome. Like,
Ah,
God's plan.
these folks are
Listen,
all over they're all over the country. You guys,
yeah,
y'all are so
yeah,
awesome. Thank
yeah,
you so
yeah,
much for
yeah,
joining us
yeah.
tonight.
This is some really good stuff. And David even says Alec always has been a phenomenal business leader. Guess what? You have dropped some stuff. Again, I need you guys in the comments to help me out, but you got to have a little charm. Like, how did you, like over the years, how did you come up with this? Because there's a lot of people that have other things that they would say. Now, of course, I work with people, and I'm in the people business, okay? And I think it's important for you to be able to connect with people on all levels. So I get it when you say charm. I get it when you say
Yeah.
you got to have a little charisma. I get it when you say you got to have a little cool. You know, people like being around cool people, not just when things are
Yeah.
going well, but when things are going bad. Guess what? They gravitate towards the person that's the coolest because it
Yes.
calms everybody down. This is some real good stuff. Is this
Well,
part
it
of some of the
really,
stuff that you teach, like some of in your leadership, or these are just some of the things that you have kind of like in your portfolio of, I guess, conferences?
well, it's a combination, a number of things in my business that I started is about training. I didn't start out at being a trainer. I just realized that I had a unique gift that God had helped me to refine. I was able to connect with people on different levels. And so I just started building this and I started hearing this and I started seeing this because I have a corporate background with an entrepreneur background. I'm a unique in terms of my thought process, and I come to this knowing that none of us have all the answers, but we piece
Right.
it together, we work together. And so I just start thinking about this and writing it down and capturing those moments, Trick, because what happens when you think about something that's profound, if you don't write it down or go and document it or record on your phone, you lose it. Or
Right.
I lose it. Somebody else may remember it forever. But I don't get a chance to really remember that. So I started writing down these things that really stuck with me. And I can remember things like, these four C's of the relationship tower. I have another one that I'll share with you a little bit later that I call my secret sauce, the
Hey,
relationship secret sauce.
do not
Do not
hold
hold
back
back.
information
Oh.
on me. You know what I'm saying? I'm here for it today. Like I did not know how deep we'll get into conversation, but definitely all the nuggets you're giving us, and not only are you giving us this, but you're acting it out. Like the last one that I
Mhm.
missed out on is you being competent. Like
Yes.
the last thing, like you have a high level, from what I can tell, to be able to deliver messages to people, whether that's through training or even streaming like this. That has to be a draw when it comes to your customers, because not only do you have to sell the program, but once you sell it, the work really comes in to actually be able to deliver it, and it looks like you've
Right.
been able to do that over the years.
I have been very fortunate that some of my clients, are Tennessee Department of Transportation, where I was able to do some work for them, Alabama Department of Transportation, Illinois Department of Transportation, as well as a number of other companies. That if I just think through it, Nissan, Toyota, these are large corporations that have brought me in and our company, as well as the Transit Authority locally here. Alabama Power was a former client of mine. I did some different work at various locations here at Southern Research. So we've have a portfolio, but I don't really hang my hat just on that. I hang
Okay.
my hat on making sure I think about the long-term effects. So over the years, when I transitioned some into my business, I really wanted to make a big impact. And I wanted to find a way to do that was meaningful. So over the years, I've decided, okay, what can I do next? How can I continue to refine myself and still use the gifts that I believe that God has provided for me to live out. And so I started seeking the path of educational opportunities and started working on some additional education where I could really bring all that to not just the boardroom, but the classroom as well. And that's where my paths have collided. You mentioned briefly about the fact of trainings and board development and kind of alluded to that a good bit. But let me just share with you a little bit more that part of what we've been able to do and that I've been able to do is bring the training to employees because all employees need to be trained until you
Right.
become what I call what I call trick a cyborg when you have an eye right here until you become that you're never going to need training and even they need training.
Right.
And so what happens is that there's always a degree of pivoting where you pivot just enough to learn something new and fresh and different. So I try to bring this flavor to companies with large organization bases,
Hmm.
and then those board of directors and those board of governors who may only be 5 people on the board, 3 people on the board, 22 people on the board, or 23 people on the board.
Okay.
And I've been able to do that board work, which is really meaningful work and challenging work at times because you're trying to work with people who have been put together in a unique environment and they're required to work together. So that's been how I put it together. But even so, I've added now what I call my bigger impact, and that's bringing my knowledge to the classroom, where I'm actually working now in education in the academic setting and working progressively in that arena to be able to bring the two together. Entrepreneurship is always going to be my love, and that's what I'm researching now. That's what I'm involved in. But I also love artificial intelligence. I love understanding about that. I love the component of sharing leadership. How do you not just have a boss, for example, but have
Mm-hmm.
other coworkers who you're sharing leadership roles with, or being a leaderless team where there's no per se leader, where everybody kind of does their own thing and makes it happen. So that's really what's going on with what's transitioning in my background. And so I look at all these things and I said, you know what? I'm not going to always be successful in everything, but I'm going to do my very best. And so there's a quote by Winston Churchill that I actually, have heard it for over the years. And it said, success is not final and failure is not fatal. It's
Okay.
basically the courage to continue moving forward. So I think about those nuggets and I said, oh, so I can pick back up and
Hey,
try it
Alice,
again?
I'm gonna interrupt. You can't keep throwing down these nuggets out here and me not say something. This is so good. And again, guys, if you're in the comments, Jermaine, help me out with this. Success is not final. That is so true. You
Right.
can be successful in
Hmm.
one moment and then miss it. And we've seen businesses time and time again miss it because they're not able to transition when technology
Right.
changes, when things, I mean, I think
Yes.
about somebody like Blockbusters, like for
Yes.
them to
Yeah.
not be able to compete with Netflix when they had the customer base, all they needed to do was just pivot their business just a little bit,
Yes.
and they
Just a
could
little
have,
bit.
and it could have, still be around because of that. And then failure is not final.
It's not
You know what?
fatal. It's not. It's
Fatal. It's
not
not fatal.
fatal. It's not fatal.
I I want to. If there was one thing that I can tell people, so mine is the Jordan. I wouldn't call it a rule because he's had so many rules, and you could think about it. I think I would call it like the Jordan experience. Okay, Michael Jordan. We
Okay.
would call Michael Jordan one of the greatest basketball players of all time. People debate it, but he's up there. Okay, Michael
He
Jordan.
is. Yes.
Everybody know him. Michael Jordan was under 50% in his point average, shots made under 50%. What does that mean? So like he was well under 50%. Let me say it that way. So that means
Okay.
every time that he shot the ball, 50% he missed, or half of them he missed and half of them he made. But again, he's
Hmm.
well under that percentage because even being a 50% shooter in a lot of cases is really good.
It's really good. Yes.
It's really good. Or even when I think about, so when you think about that, he's the best, and every time he put the ball up, there was a chance that he was going to miss it just as well as a chance he was going to make it.
But he continued.
He
He
continued
continued
to
on.
shoot. He continued to
And you know
shoot.
what? Yes, he continued to shoot. And that says that we're not going to just stop. We're going to have the courage to move on. And so one thing, I know you're a Christian, Strick, so I want to be able to bring this piece together.
Come
But
on now.
there's one piece about the Indomitable Spider. And I shared this with Wayman. I said, what happens to a spider when for sure we've heard the childhood realm, rhyme, and we
Mm-hmm.
know what happens with the spider. But think about that in terms of the spirit of the person, and how do you move beyond what just happened to you? You get back up, you shake it off, and you start again. You start another business if that one failed. Get another job if you got fired from that last one. You pick up and you move on. And so you realize that, hey, I'm like the indomitable spider. I can do this. So I feel that that's what I've been able to do is kind of reinvent myself. One of my, one of the ladies who used to work with me at Skye Connect, she said, you're like she kind of summoned it to be basically the comeback kid, the Tina Turner, if you will, who really reinvented herself and changed her whole life. And now we know her in a different way than when she started. And so it was always this funny dialogue between us about how we can make change and make those things stick. So you're right that just because Michael Jordan didn't always hit it, he kept going. Even though his average was not higher than 50%, what an incredible story to talk about what happens when you need to keep moving. So I think that's a really good
But,
opportunity for us to just
but
say,
we
way to
call him
go.
the greatest. We call
We
him the
call him the greatest.
greatest.
We do, don't
So
we?
I just, sometimes people get it twisted. We see people in our community, all right, and we see them strike out. I saw a post, I got a
Mhm.
raise today, or I got a new job, and everybody likes the fact that you got a new job, or I started a new business, and then people don't support you. Like
Mm.
nobody
Come on.
really, it's kind of hard for people to be excited for one another, and it's like, okay, you make a mistake, you fail, you start a business, guess what? It didn't hit. But it's the exercise of doing the part to the business, because all you needed is the next thing to come up, and you've learned all along the way how to run it, and then you hit a big you make a home run off of something that you actually was trained for out of your failures. My
Yes.
youngest is an athlete, all right, and since we're talking about basketball,
Hmm.
he doesn't like to fail. He does not like to fail. He only does
Yeah.
what he knows. And this is a general sense. I love him to death, but he had to get to the point to where he would take more shots because he really didn't want to miss the shots. But
Oh,
Jermaine said it a few minutes ago. You miss every shot that you don't take.
you don't take.
Let me
Yes,
put it up so
Jermaine.
we can see it.
Absolutely.
You miss every shot you
Absolutely.
don't take, and I think when
Take the
people,
shot.
you got to take the shot, and
Yes.
even this, because we're on how people can support other folks even in their failure. Support people that are taking shots.
That's right.
Support people that are
And
trying to take
yeah,
shots.
because it takes courage and bravery to put your shingle out there and say, support my business. It takes courage to get up every day. And of course, ladies, we know, put this makeup on, do our hair and put ourselves and our shoulders back and move and make it happen. It takes courage to walk out and say, I'm going to rely on my might to make this thing happen in God's plan. So
Right.
how do we make sure we do that? And so I look at this as trying to figure out how do we intentionally make this happen. So one thing I want to also mention is that there's some intentionality about this. I remember when we started the first of the year, not necessarily this year, but over the past years, I said, how can I be more intentional in what I'm trying to do? How do I make sure that I'm intentionally building relationships that will give me long term value? How do I make sure that I'm here and present when they call my company's name or my name? How do I make sure that I don't make my parents and my family embarrassed when they see me on something and say, oh, she didn't hit the mark?
Right.
How do I make sure my kids see me as someone who says, you know what? She didn't go to school until she was old, older, and she still keeps going. So, how do we make sure we do that? We need to commit to the journey.
I got it.
Commit to the journey. It's really important for us.
I like the fact that you would say commit to the journey because so many people want things so fast.
Yeah,
Okay. And I think part of life is the journey. It's the learning
it
part.
is.
Like you should
It's
never
that
stop
dash.
learning. Yeah, it's that dash. And so if you just think back to when you were in your early 20s and you're working, you're trying to hit a home run, whatever it is, your business, your job, you're trying to get the next promotion so you can get the biggest house and the flashiest car so you can look like you were successful. If you got all that stuff, then what would you be working for?
Well, you know what? I think you have been around here a long time because you're absolutely right
I have
that
been
that
around
the
here a long time.
journey
Don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody.
it's our secret. It's our
Right, right,
secret.
right.
And so the idea that you're right, there's always this journey. And so I tell my friends, particularly I tell my friends that for me it's about the experiences. It's about the experiences of being a part of that, to see them grow, to see these things happen, and figure out, how do we get there? How do we get there together? And being able to support each other, because you're right, there's an entrepreneur community that's in Birmingham that is thriving, but there are some folks out there who are scared to make that first step. And
Right.
so I know some of my friends will say, Alice, you're a risk taker. Well, I'm a calculated risk taker.
Okay, okay.
Calculated. And so entrepreneurship and doing those things makes a difference. But I found out sometimes that you don't take the shot. I forgot which guest had said it, but he said you don't, I think maybe Freeman. He said if you don't take
Yeah,
the shot,
Jermaine.
you never,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you're never going to make it. So Jermaine was so right about that. And so I just want to make sure we take the shot and make things happen. So I had this other nugget I want to drop on you. You ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready. Thank God we
Okay.
got this all recorded. It's live and re-recorded, so I can go back and get it. Come on.
Okay, so I have this concept that I was thinking about. I did it over the years, and I said, what are the keys to the relationship. I call it my relationship, the secret sauce. And so it's
Okay.
4 areas. So the relationship secret sauce are these. So there is 20% of this that you need, 20% of this that you need, and 20% of this. Let me tell you what they are. 20% of us need to be dependable. Dependability is a huge thing. Some people don't ever follow up on their word. They don't do what
Mm-hmm.
they say they're going to do. So we have to make sure that we're dependable. The other 20% of that is flexibility, being flexible to understand that sometimes, the glass may not feel like it's half full. How do you make sure you manage yourself accordingly? How are you flexible when you don't get the deal or it takes too long to get the deal? The other 20% is being likable. Some of us, Strict, are just not likable people. Let's just call it for what it is.
Hey, listen, I
And
know some of
so,
them folks. When we start
you
calling
know,
names, you know what I'm saying? I
no,
can put
don't
some
call
names
no
on the
names.
screen.
No name. So you have to be likable. And then the 40% of the entire piece I feel is so important for the secret sauce is the ability to be credible. To be credible. So your
Why do you
credibility
think that's so important? Your credibility. Why is that so important?
is so important because people have to believe that you can do anything. You can
Okay.
move the mountain. Because when businesses hire, especially diverse companies, they expect you to move a mountain
Right.
even if the mountain has never been moved. And so we have to manage the expectation and be credible in our word. So if you know you can't deliver feeding 500 people at an event, don't take the job because
Right.
it's going to impact your credibility. So yeah, you may be dependable, you may be flexible, you may be likable, but your credibility is gone because you have committed to something you know you can't, keep up with.
Right.
And so I consider the relationship secret sauce incorporates all these areas to ensure that we're able to manage our credibility. Because realistically, when you think about it, that's all we have. That's all we have.
Right.
And so I like the idea of doing that. So yeah, you're absolutely right, Jermaine. Thank you so much. He's put it right in front of you because that's my secret sauce to believing that I can make some things happen that are bigger than just right now. But
Hey,
I
this
must
our
possess and
secret
be
sauce now.
prepared.
We're
It's
taking it.
our secret.
It's our secret sauce.
It's out now. It's out now.
I
And so,
love it.
yeah, our secret sauce. And so I realized that sometimes we need a little bit of it, which is why early on I was talking about being cool and have character and being charming and then being competent because that all goes along with how we're going to be hired. And you may not ever want to be in business for yourself, and that is perfectly okay. But what about the job that you're in? You can be entrepreneur in the job that you're currently in. How do
Okay.
you support it? So I did this kind of a, I guess it's not a study or anything strict, but it's really my observation. Most of us go to a dentist that we like. Most of us who have pets take our pets to a vet that we like. Most of us have clothing that we take to the dry cleaner. All those are small businesses, and those small businesses need our support.
Right.
And so I love it. I actually found out when I teach Salesforce, which is actually a cloud-based server that I teach at the university where I'm at now. And they have it on their site where you can find out who are African American app designers and those in technology. I went to another business here in Birmingham that's all over the country, and I actually went to their website, and they now are telling me who are the African American women and business people that are making makeup. What's the makeup
Wow.
line? I'm actually wearing one tonight. And so on my Yelp app, I now can find companies or businesses that are owned by diverse professionals. So I am so encouraged about what we're seeing because I know there are so many people who say COVID was so bad, we just need to move on.
Right.
And some of that may be true, but COVID should have made us better.
Right.
It
I
should have
like
made us
that.
more resilient. It should have made us more technologically savvy. And as industry and professionals in the academic world and the business world, and just overall understanding, we need to understand where we are in the stream of time. This is the best time ever. This
It
is the
is.
best time ever in terms of, reinventing ourselves and trying something new and fresh.
So
So,
let me ask you this question. And this is right off the top of my head because I do want to get to like how you made the pivot into what you're doing now. I understand everything you're saying, and I'm
mhm,
encouraged by all of it because a lot of it is some of the things that I would say. I think you have some experience in the corporate world that I don't, high level experience that I don't have, but I understand everything you're saying. How does like minded business professionals in Birmingham. And really, this could be across the nation. How do we find each other to be able to work together and collab on things? Now, I will say this, I'm super busy. Like, I'm super busy at my craft with so many different things, but I understand the importance of collaborating with the right people. And if you and I are talking, if we really understand the business world and there's ways that we can collaborate with each other, how do we do that in our busy lives?
Oh, what another great question. Well, what I would first start to say is that use technology. All of us have a smartphone.
Okay.
And so we can use technology, first of all, by connecting with each other and just reaching out, taking a shout out, and deliberately collaborating. So, deliberately taking a moment to say, hey, I see what you're doing. It's really encouraging. I like what you're doing. Let's chat about it some more. So,
Right.
we need to start talking more because what happens once we're in our own environment and within our four walls, we close up. And we
Right.
realize that with COVID being such a, just traumatic experience for so many of us, we need each other and we miss each other.
Right.
And so you're right that we need to be able to connect each other with each other strict and help each other. But we can do that through technology. So just because we simply don't see each other does not mean we can't talk. We can do face-to-face interaction like we're doing tonight, or we can use it. So I think that I don't necessarily think it's all the programs that are out there because there are great programs out there for these business owners, and I've taken
Gotcha.
advantage of many of them. But it's really
Like
a
the
little more of a
networking programs?
yeah,
Okay.
networking programs, and then funding opportunities. But we have to be deliberate about it and intentional. So that means right now, if there is an event happening and you can virtually do it, even if you're on for 10 minutes, make an effort, be
Gotcha.
intentional. And I must tell you, sometimes I receive contracts just by being in the place. Being in
Wow.
the space and the place. And I will also tell you my number two tip would be to use social media to your advantage.
Okay.
Use social media to your advantage. If you don't know how to use it, hire someone
They can.
because it is that important.
I like it. I like it. I
Hmm.
like it. Use
Hmm.
social media for your advantage. And again, I said this earlier in the program. We actually connected over LinkedIn, and
Yes.
of course, I am very familiar of your work in the city over the years. And there was a promo video of you working with some people in Tennessee, and I watched it. And I was like, hey, I didn't know she was doing that, and this is pretty cool. So I reached out to you because I think that people that are in your field of work is very important that you have a platform to kind of share because you just never know where the next customer or the next client, the next business will come from. That
Right.
being said, I'm glad that this day happened because I'm sure there's a lot of you just giving so much nuggets. I have so many nuggets tonight. This is incredible. But at
Thank
some
you.
point, you decided, you know what? I want to pivot my life. And you decided to go into the education world. Like, what was that? How did that decision come up? Like, what made you pivot that direction?
Well, let me say that I still straddle the line. I am a
Okay.
full time faculty member, and so I have the academic version of my life where I actually love research, I love teaching, I love the academic environment. And then I have the entrepreneur spirit that I have where I take risk and chances and work with industries and organizations and learn these different applications that they find interesting. And then they bring us in, or me and my team, and we add to it. So I still straddle the fence between it. So I do both.
Okay.
And so, but I had to realize is that there's something called sustaining power. That
Right.
how long can we sustain what we're doing at the level that we need to do it at to make the most impact?
Okay.
And I realized, I'm only one person. And so I had to make some decisions about where I see myself in 10, 15 years from now. And so I realized that I was already teaching, already training, and working with industry. And so I decided to make a deliberate pitch. And I actually enrolled in a university here in Alabama and began to pursue my doctorate of business administration. So, preferably in the next, 6, 8 months or so, I'll have an extra degree and be able to use that even more in my research and continue to grow in that area. But I still will probably always be an entrepreneur in this area because I love entrepreneurship. but I
Hey,
always will
listen, I'm
be
gonna stop you right
on
there because
faculty.
you're moving really fast. So instead of just having Alice, you be doctor. You know, that's what's coming up. This is awesome that you would do that. That you decide to pivot that way, and it's not easy to do to additional education, especially when you've been a business owner for so long, because
Yeah.
what happens is you have some failures, but you also have some successes, and you learn how to make money, and money will sit you down. Like, I don't want to go, personally, I don't want any more
That
school.
is
Like,
so
the
true.
university I go to is YouTube, okay? That's my
Okay.
university. But
Hmm.
for you to do that, that's awesome. And I will, you said something that sparked my attention. I'm actually like, I learned this term from the Shark Tank, so it's not like I learned it in any school, but scalability, like being able to
Yes.
scale what you're doing. And basically, what you were saying to me was that you got to the point where you looked at your business and say, how can I scale this long term? And the this was you, like, how can you scale yourself? And you pivoted to the education world to be able to have some longevity. I absolutely love it because
Yeah.
people need to be thoughtful about what's the long term goal. Like, you get to a certain point, you say, I've seen all this, I
Yeah.
worked here, I did this, I did that. This is
Hmm.
something where I can kind of dig in for a while, and it can have better dividends long term. So kudos to
Yeah.
you. Kudos to you.
Yeah, but thank you so much. But one thing I want to just mention is that you don't stop. You simply
Right.
make adjustments and refine them along the way. I also believe that it's important that you take inventory of yourself and what you're really good at and what you like to do. And so I've been very fortunate that I've taught at University of Alabama, Birmingham, UAB. I teach now at Samford University, and I've got some great things that I've learned from these institutions that I now take with me even more so. And so developing curriculum and making sure you have strong assessments. I used to be an assessor for advanced ed, where I actually went around the country and looking at assessments for accreditation. And that taught me a lot that I did not know. And I was
Hold on, hold on.
intrigued
How
by
do you find those kind of jobs? Who does that? Like,
it was
travels doing assess.
volunteer.
Okay, okay, I
it
got it.
was
I
it was
got it.
crazy.
I got it.
But here's the deal: they would take care of accommodations. They will work with you. It wasn't a super duper glamorous job that some people really want the glamour. But I learned so much, and I was able to see what happens in K through 12 that I liked, and things I would say let's adjust a little bit here and there. So that's something I'll probably want to one day get back to, just to be a volunteer in that arena, because I feel like I was giving back. And I'm a
Got you.
big philanthropic person. I believe in giving back. I believe in donating money and physically being there at these locations where I can say I'm a volunteer, or at least signing up to be a part of that. So I don't just want to talk it, I want to walk the walk too.
That being said, one of the volunteer moments that I had was working with Ignite for a little bit, and you were actually putting that program together. That's where I think it was a couple of years ago we had a chance to meet there kind of briefly.
Hmm.
And your work with them is really phenomenal. I like the organization and what they do as far as showcasing volunteers from across Birmingham. Are you still doing work with that particular organization? Are you guys still doing some things?
Yeah, thank you so much for saying that. Actually, Ignite is coming up April 22nd, where they're doing more of a virtual environment because of, the current state that we're in. And actually, we started Ignite back in 2015. We
Okay.
started planning it, and then we launched our first one in 2016. So this is the fifth year anniversary of Ignite, and they've been very blessed to be working for us, to be working with them. And the owners and the people who run it are just phenomenal. United Way is an incredible organization, but the United Way hands-on is a smaller portion of it, and they do some incredible work. Strick, and I must say, I hope to continue helping them as much as I can, because they do good work. So I'm glad you remember that, because I think on that day that I met you, it was such a blur because I had so many things going on. But I'm glad you had a positive experience, which is what I was hoping
Oh, I didn't say
everyone
it
would
was
walk away.
positive. I didn't
Oh,
say
come
that.
on.
No, it was really cool. It was really cool because I mean, just like a lot of people in the city, like, you see people, and then that was the first time I actually had a chance to talk to you, like, in person. It was really really brief, but I can say, hey, at this point, I met somebody, like, you meet these people. I'm one of those kind of folks that I get it most of the time. When people get big eyes and be like, "Hey, are you Strick?" Yeah, I'm Strick. It's nice to meet you. So it was one of those kind of moments. But it was really cool because
Mhm.
of how the organization and what was happening that day. Because at the
Mhm.
end of the day, it was the who's of Birmingham that was in that room. Not because I was there.
Mhm.
I was just glad to be invited to be a part of it. But it was a lot of people there, and it was a really, really good day. That being said,
Yes.
um, are you with what you're doing now? I know you said you're doing some of the stuff in the academic world, and you're still doing
Mhm.
some Skye Connect stuff. If there were like an ideal customer for you, all right, that you could say, hey, these are some of the things that I'm looking for as clients for me right now going forward, based on my lifestyle, based on how my business is set up. What would that be?
Okay. Well, I actually have reduced my client load for deliberately because I really want to focus and do well in my academic endeavors. So that was kind of a deliberate move that I made. But I will say that being in this area has really provided me some opportunities to see things in a different way. So for me, academia has been a great experience for that. So I feel that I've been able to continue to do this in this way, and I feel that my clients value what I bring to the table because I try to listen well. I try to listen more than I talk when I'm meeting clients. So my
Right.
average or my typical client would be a company or organization with, a couple hundred people potentially who work for them, or maybe a department that has a smaller number of people. Say they work within a company with 2,000 employees, but there are only 5 people in that department. So I've been able to go in a sweet spot and really be a support to that department, that one department. We're not a large company. We probably never will be a large company, and that's okay. I just like to be able to do a few projects because I think there's value in having the practical application and experience that I now bring to the classroom and vice versa. So I can talk about real life activities and things that have been taking place and what's transitioning in the world out here and then the world inside the classroom. So going to my typical client or client that I will be seeking is someone looking for a professional like myself that can
Mm-hmm.
come in and train your employees, can train, work with your board of directors, and just be a support team member to you when it comes down to strategy and crisis situations. So that's really what I've been working on more so than not.
I absolutely love it. I'm praying. I put it out there, and I wanted you to be able to articulate, hey, these are some of the people that I'm looking to work with, based on how you want to work in the future, because you
Hmm.
never know who will call. You never know where your
You
next
never know.
big client would come from, company to work with, and you have such a unique gifting to, like you said, be able to work in a department with a small group of people to help them,
Hmm.
or to even be able to train board members to to be able to be efficient at being board members. So if people are watching this today and
Hmm.
man, they hear who you are, what you're doing, and they say, "Hey, I want to really connect with this young lady." How can they do that?
Well, we have our website, so it's www.skyconnect.com, and Sky is SKYECONNECT.com. That's really our best way to be connected with me. You can also find me on LinkedIn, which is just my name, Alice Gordon Holloway. I'm also have my company on Facebook, so you can find us on Facebook. You can also find us on Instagram. Instagram is Alice G Holloway, and you can connect with me that way as well. And if there's something that we can be helpful to you, we'll certainly talk with you. But I do also refer as much work as I can to other people who are just as good, if not more talented than we are. And so I try to be supportive. And I just want to make sure that I at least put this plug in that Strick, you have an incredible gift to be able to bring together this forum and allow us a chance to be on this forum. So I appreciate what you've
Oh, you
done.
don't have to say
I
that.
appreciate no, I do. It's been
Thank
great,
you.
and I've seen
Thank
other
you.
people on it. So I know what you've been doing. I've been able to see your work, and I remember hearing you on the radio station, and I said, who is
Who's
Strick?
that
What
goofy
is that?"
dude? Like,
Yeah.
why do they have him on the radio? What is he talking about?
The name stuck with me. So I think you've done a really great job of parlaying your brand even more so. So I'm excited to continue to get to know you and continue to help you explore as many opportunities as possible so you can have a 5-year anniversary of Strick City.
streaming on the internet 5 years from now, like people don't understand. Like a lot of people, they see big virtually right now, whether that's YouTube or wherever else. Those people have been doing it for 10 years. So,
Yeah.
they definitely have a head start. And you would say that for any business. If a business is 10 years old, they've gone through the ups and downs. They made it through some lows to get to where they are now. I'm going to enjoy the process, not
That's
rushing
right.
it, but understanding
Hmm.
that, hey, 5 years from now, I'm going to be at a different place where I am now. And, if I stick to it, if I use all of the things you gave us today,
Yeah. The
uh,
strict
you know,
might.
I got to go through, yeah, if I have a little strict might with what God's plan that I could make it. And it's not really one of those things where it's personally making it for me because, to be honest with you, I make it when I get a chance to interview people like yourself to expose you to my audience or the audience of social media as a whole, and you can share your story to inspire somebody else. Like even starting with, your mother and how you were born actually kind of allowed you to jumpstart with information, reading books, and I'm
Hmm.
sure that helped give you some foundation to who you are today. Like you have a unique talent, and if you continue, I mean, you're doing it. Like you're using what may have happened to you in the past, good, bad, or indifferent, to
Hmm.
be who you
Hmm.
are today, and that's where I want everybody to get to, like to be able
Yes.
to learn, all right, from your past, good or bad, to be
Hmm.
better today, to be able to help somebody else. So you've been an awesome
Absolutely.
guest. I really do
Thank
appreciate you
you.
stopping through. Like this, whether I forget whether it was Women's Month or I know we had Women's Day. I dedicated this show. I made a post on Facebook. I was dedicating this show to business women, and I wanted to highlight you in such a way where people can see your transparency on who you are as a person and your past and working and being an entrepreneur to inspire them today. You never know what young lady is watching this and would be like, I want to be like her. She's super cool. Like in a year when we have a vice president that looks like them, in a year when we have people like Stacey Abrams that's making an impact in Georgia, and people are
Yes.
now, young ladies are now being able to have some heroes that they could look to like never before. And I put you in
Yes.
that. I put you in that class as well.
Well, thank you so much. Like I said, Birmingham has been a great start for me, by working where I had a television show here in Birmingham, did some TV work in Mobile, and then working, of course, in the utility area to being able to just be a support person, being a lot of boards. I just feel it's all divine. It's all based on what, our divine path has been. I just feel that I'm not here alone. I didn't get here by myself. There were
Right.
some incredible women that pushed me up. There were some great Black women and Black men that actually helped grow my company when nobody would hire me, at one
Wow.
point. And I appreciate them. There has been some great non-minority professionals and friends of mine that I cherish and I love, and I think they're amazing. So we need each other. I think that we're in a place in our country where we have to see that we have people who blaze a trail, but there need to be people coming behind them to till the grass to build it back up. So we
That
got to keep that going. Yeah.
That's awesome. And thank you for
Hmm.
sharing that because it's so important. And thank you for sharing your time today. Like, I said we could all be so busy. How do we collab? We take the time to do something like this, and who knows
Yes.
what the next collaboration would be. But at least we had a chance to talk, or in my world, we would say, at least we had a chance to chop it up a little bit, and we get a
Chop it
chance
up.
to, yeah, to chop it up a little bit and learn
Like
from
that.
one another and to be able to help somebody else. So let's hold what you got. Let me close this show up for the day. Listen, man, did you learn something? Were you encouraged? Were you inspired by this young lady? I'm talking about awesome person right here in Birmingham, Alabama. Big shouts out to my guy Tyree Melton, another Opelika
Hi.
Birmingham guy. My dude, thank you for hanging out with us today. Jermaine, dude, man, thank you for being in the comments tonight, man. Thank you for helping me out. And thank you for your kind words as well. And Miss Thomas, thank you for chiming in, and everybody that's been in the comments and all of the great things you've said, compliments you've given to Alice tonight. I do appreciate you
you.
hanging out with us. Like we do Strick City on Thursday nights. On Sunday nights, you can catch me with Brent Collins. I'm one of the stream guys. Brent is the co-host with me, and we help streamers succeed. So if you want to be able to do shows like this, we actually teach it on Sunday nights. It's 6 o'clock Central Standard Time, and it's on Ecamm Live. So that's Ecamm Live on YouTube, Ecamm Live on Facebook. You can catch that show. It's a partner deal that I have with them where we're using Ecamm to actually produce this show. So we're working with them to highlight their technology, their production software, and I get a chance to talk to people and help them. Like this show, we encourage folks. On that show, I encourage people just to stream and get their content out there. So thank you so very much for hanging out with us tonight. Thursday night, I'll see you guys. I am Strick, and I love what I do.